Okay, so let's start our today's discussion. So today's discussion is basically demand and supply. Okay, so demand and supply, as I introduced in my initial class, was that demand and supply are the core of my microeconomics. Okay, these are the factors that determine my price. So these make the core of microeconomics, and we have two chapters, demand and supply 1, demand and supply 2 in our CB2, right. So please understand this demand curve, supply curve, and factors of demand, what is movement along the demand curve, what is shift in demand curve. Okay, why is demand curve looking like downwards line, why is supply curve always looking like upward line. Okay, we all will discuss these things. Clear? So we understood price mechanism. So how was price determined? When was my equilibrium price? At what stage did I get my equilibrium price? Basically when my demand was equal to supply. Okay. So now you might be knowing that price is affected by demand and supply, and my supply and demand are affected by price. They have interdependency with each other. Okay. Now let's start a discussion over demand first. So demand is basically the quantity of goods and services, demanded, or I say people are willing and able to demand at a particular price at a particular period or time period is basically called demand of that good or service. Now I have written some keywords in the definition. If you are writing the definition of demand, as I said, you won't be directly asked the definition of demand, but while you are starting a question that concerns demand, so what you can do is you can mention the definition of demand first. It makes your answer more interactive, right? So demand, I have mentioned some keywords: goods and services, willing and able. Okay, people must be willing and must be able to demand them at a particular price. As I said, price is key to determine demand. Similarly, I would be having this particular price word in my supply definition as well, because demand and supply cannot be measured at a particular point of time without the price consideration. Okay. So particular price in a particular time period. So this is main keyword in your definition that should be there in demand, because I cannot measure a demand or supply without the consideration of price, because at different number of prices I can have different number of quantity demanded by different individuals. Is the definition clear? Is any term in this definition that you are not able to understand? A very basic definition. Okay. Now if I talk about my demand curve, so demand curve is basically the representation of quantity demanded with respect to my price. So demand curve is basically when I would be plotting my number of quantity demanded with respect to price, then I will get a demand curve. Okay. So in curve you always know, please try to understand, you will not be asked to draw a curve, but again you could be asked to interpret a curve, as I mentioned in the PPC class. So you should be able to know what is my curve showing, what is my curve depicting, and that only you can understand once you are able to make a curve. Clear guys? So this is my quantity demanded and this is my price. So in my demand curve, my x-axis always show my quantity demanded and my y-axis always show my price. So if I say my price is currently P1, at P1 I am demanding, for example, Q1 quantities. So I can plot this point, right? Now if I increase my price, for example, if it becomes P2, Now can you tell, will my quantity demanded decrease or will my quantity demanded increase? You have not understood any demand law, you have not understood till law of demand. Just think about the basic thinking, that if for example you buy a top, you are thinking it is costing you 500 pounds, 500 rupees, okay. So if its price increases in the future, for example it becomes 600, will you still buy it? If you are buying for example 2 quantities at that time, will you be buying still 2 quantities or 1 quantity or 3 quantities? Tell me quickly in the chat box, will my quantity demanded increase, will my quantity demanded decrease? Just from a basic experience. Demand is nothing new, it is just the general concept that we do in daily life. Come on Fatima, will my quantity increase, will my quantity decrease? So my quantity will decrease, okay. I am now quantity, I am now demanding lesser quantity. Yes, very good Fatima. So my curve, now if I for example decrease my price at price 3, now I will be demanding more quantities, okay. So at this my quantity will increase. So my price curve, can you see, this is a downward sloping line. This downward sloping line is called demand curve, which I represent with D, okay. This is my downward sloping line. So I can say the feature of my demand curve is downward sloping line. Clear guys? Now I have understood one more thing in this is, when my prices were increasing, my quantity demanded was decreasing. When my prices were decreasing, my quantity demanded was increasing. This is called law of demand. It means we have inverse relationship. So law of demand is basically inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay. So this is the definition of law of demand, the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. If I am increasing the prices of certain good, I would be demanding less. If I am decreasing the price of certain good, I would be demanding more. Clear till now? Now if I move forward, why is law of demand established like this? Or I say, why is my demand curve downward sloping? Why downward sloping? Okay. So to understand this, we have to understand two different things. First, my goods can be of two types. Either they can be substitution goods, substitute goods, or they can be complementary goods, complement goods. Okay. Substitute, as the name suggests, substitute means alternative, right? For example, you are eating a bread. Now prices of bread increases. What will you start? Maybe you will start shifting to chapatis, right? Because chapatis may cost you less. So substitute. So chapatis and breads are alternatives or substitutes of each other. For example, you like to drink a particular type of cold drink, okay? So if you are not getting that cold particular type, for example, if I take the brands Thumbs Up and Sprite, so you can shift from Thumbs Up to Sprite, right? There is no big deal. So that's why these are called substitute goods. Or I say, if I am talking about modes of transport, my cycle and my car can be called substitute goods. Clear? Now degree of substitution, for example, degree of alternativeness can vary. For example, cycles and cars cannot be perfect substitutes, but personal car and Ola or cabs can be perfect substitutes. So we are not going into details the degree of substitution, but just understand substitutes means alternative option. Now if I come to the reverse case, that is complementary goods. Complementary goods that make up the demand of each other. For example, if you are driving a car, you would demand petrol, diesel or gas, whatever it runs on, right? So complementary goods means that create demand of each other. Clear? So give me an example of complementary goods and substitute goods in the chat box. Any other example that I have given apart from that? Quickly give me an example of substitute and complementary goods. Come on, waiting for your answer. Then only we will move forward. So I can say they are consumed together. Come on, quickly give me the example of substitute and complementary goods in the chat box. You can be asked to produce examples in the exam as well, okay? In 1 mark they can simply ask you, give me the example of substitute goods and complementary goods, while there is a long case study question. Come on, I am waiting. Come on guys, quickly. As I said, make this class interactive as possible, please. Okay, school bus and local bus, these are substitutes, okay. Complementary goods. Think of a complementary good. Come on, quickly. For complementary good, okay, think of, since we are doing actuarial science, let's think of an example from one of its field only, insurance. Once you take a car, once you buy any motor vehicle, so there is mandatory motor vehicle insurance, right? So the demand of car will basically increase your demand of motor insurance. Clear? So that can be a complementary good, right? So I can say car and motor insurance. Or I can say, for example, I bought AC, air conditioner. So electricity. So demand for air conditioner will increase my demand for electricity. Electricity is also considered a good or service. So this could be the examples of complementary goods. Clear? Substitute goods you have already taken, school bus or local bus, or I can say bus or car, or I can say in food items I can take any type of soft drinks. Okay. Offline class and online class, these are also substitute goods. Clear? So I hope this is clear. Now coming to a concept, downward sloping demand curve. Why my curve is downward sloping? So first reason is your income effect. How were you able to decide that okay, if my price increases I will decrease my quantity? You have thought of this way now, okay, if I have my fixed budget, if I have my fixed income, now I am feeling poorer. You feel poorer. You are not able to afford that much quantity at that price. Why? Because now your income is able to buy lesser thing. So reduced purchasing power of your income. These are the keywords that I am using for income effect, okay. You feel poorer because you have a fixed income and now your income is able to produce lesser quantity because price has increased, okay. So that's why you buy lesser quantity. This is one reason, income effect. Second reason is substitution effect. For example, the prices of car has increases. So the prices of petrol, for example, has increases. Not petrol, let us think about, yes, the prices of cars have increases. So what will you think? Okay, I can move to my buses to go to school or to go to my office, whatever my route is, or I can prefer walking, right? So that's substitution effect. You will shift. Prices rise, prices of goods service rise, you will shift to alternatives. Once you shift to alternatives, your current quantity demanded will decrease. That's called substitution effect. Income effect means now your income is able to buy lesser items, so your income is having lesser purchasing power. If I talk about substitution effect, so substitution effect, I am now shifting to alternatives that are costing me lesser. Okay? Clear till now? Income effect and substitution effect clear? Give me a yes. Now whenever you are writing a definition of law of demand or law of supply, please make sure you are adding this word ceteris paribus. This is very important keyword to be included in your definition because this is assumption of your law of demand. Okay? What does it mean? Ceteris paribus means everything else remaining constant. Okay, when I say my demand, when I talked about this substitution effect, now I am assuming here that the prices of substitutes are not changing. Okay, if for example my prices of car have also increased, my prices of buses have also increased, then I can't make a decision that easily, right? But yes, if my car prices have increased but bus prices remain same, okay, then only I can make the decision. Okay, now I am getting car more expensive. Clear? That's why I need to take the assumption ceteris paribus while I am talking about my law of demand. Everything else except the price of own good or service remains constant. This is called ceteris paribus, that must be included in your definition. So your law of demand definition becomes the inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and price of the goods or services, assuming ceteris paribus, is called law of demand. Now moving forward, movement along or shift in demand curve. Now this is the key topic where students usually get confused. When is the case that movement is happening, when is the case shift is happening? I will divide it very easily, so please focus. So two things I have told, movement, shift. Now here you can see along, now you can see in. Along means in the same curve. Okay, something will happen, movement along means in the same curve. It means in the different curve. Okay, shift is I am shifting from one place to another place. I am shifting from one demand curve to another demand curve. Okay, one difference here you need to notice that it happens due to change in prices of own good or services. Okay, if I say you can see here my prices were decreasing or increasing, that's why my quantity were increasing and decreasing. So this is the reason that I have movement in my demand curve. For shift, change in any other factor except own prices. So here own price remain constant. You could be tested on the difference between shift and movement along the demand curve. So please make sure you are using completing this topic very well. Again repeating, movement along means you are moving the demand along the same curve and it happens due to changes in prices on goods and services, everything else remaining constant, ceteris paribus. Now here every other factor changes and other things remains, that is my price of goods and services remain constant. Clear? Because in reality it is not possible that other things are remaining constant. So it is possible that rest of the things, or I say non-price factor is also changing. So it is happening from change in price factor, it is happening from change in non-price factor. So these are the two basic differences. It happens in same curve, it happens in change in same price. It happens in different curve, it happens due to change in other factors than price. Now if I draw the graph, I say my prices changes, so price 1 to price 2, if I say this is quantity 1 and this is quantity 2. So my demand curve is plotted like this. So firstly my demand was here D1, right? From P1 and Q1 I had D1, from Q2 and P2 I have D2. So my demand have, look, my demand was earlier low, it has, my demand curve has moved from this point to this point. So this is happening within the same curve, right? So this is called movement within the curve. And if I am moving upward, my demand is, if I am moving upward, my demand is contracting. And if I am moving downward, my demand is expanding. So this is called contraction and expansion within the demand curve. Clear? Movement along the demand curve. So I can say movement along the demand curve have two phases: contraction, it means when price rises, and my expansion when my price falls. Moving to shift in the curve. So similar graph. Here my price will remain same, but my quantity demanded will change due to some other factors. Okay. So Q1, firstly I was demanding D1 here, but since my quantity has changed but my price remained constant, I am now demanding this D2. So this was my earlier demand curve, this was my new demand curve. I can see two different demand curves. That's why I said we will be dealing in two demands curve or three demands curve. So my demand have moved to which direction? Is it right direction? Is it left direction? Right direction. So it is called rightward shift. And if my quantity has reduced but price again remained same, so my demand curve would have moved to left side. This is called leftward shift. Clear? So rightward shift in increase in quantity demanded but prices remain same, and leftward shift is decrease in quantity demanded due to other factors than price. So shift, again shift is of two types, rightward shift and this is leftward shift. Is it clear, guys? Quickly give me a yes if this clear. Movement and shift within the demand curve. Very important topic. If I get the green signal, then only I will move forward to the factors of demand. The factors that can lead to my shift. Quickly, give me a yes. If you are having any doubt, give me the doubt in the chat box as well. Okay. Now, we will talk about demand or factors affecting demand. First factor was very simple, price. Price would affect my demand. This is the core affecting factor, right? What other factors can be there? First factor can be production. Sorry, production no, population. Right? If my population, for example, of a country A has increased, the demand for food will increase or decrease? Even if the prices of food is remaining constant, will the demand for my food increase or decrease if my population has increased? It will increase, right? So, again this will show the prices are remaining constant, still my demand is increases with Q1 and Q2. So, this is my shift, rightward shift. Okay. Second could be advertising. How can be advertising? If I am doing a huge advertisement of my product, if you are seeing a lot of advertisement of particular product, then you would be demanding more of the product, maybe because of trust, maybe because of word of mouth, maybe because of psychology or whatever. We are not concerned with that. But if I am doing more on investment, then I am tending towards more quantity even if my prices are constant, right? For example, in year 1 you bought a particular food item that was not so advertised, you were buying it at 500, 2 quantities. But now after a year it is being advertised a lot of producers, a lot of actors, cricketers are now promoting that product. Now even if that 500 product you could buy more of that quantity, right? So advertising. And if I am not talking about the individual demand, more people, I can say if without advertising 5 people were buying the particular good, after advertisement maybe 10 people are now buying the goods. Okay, so I am not always talking about individual demand, I can talk about the whole demand for a particular good. Third can be substitute goods price. We have already understood the substitute goods price. If for example, let us take the substitute goods school bus and local bus, the example that Fatima gave. If for example the local bus fares have increased, so even if the prices of school bus is your normal quantity, normal item that you are considering about the demand. Okay, you were not considering school bus earlier, but now given that the prices of local bus have increased, now school bus is relatively cheaper for you, so you would be shifting to school bus rather than local bus, right? So this is how the prices of substitute goods also affect your quantity demanded for other goods. So I can say if prices of substitutes increase, quantity demanded of other good या फिर my good will decrease or increase, Fatima? If prices of substitutes are increases, the quantity demanded of particular good will increase or decrease? Decrease or increase? Quickly. Quickly, because there is nothing much to think. If prices of substitute goods are increasing, then will my quantity demanded of my particular good will increase. If for example think school bus is your normal good and local bus is your substitute goods. If substitute goods, that is local bus prices are increasing or local bus fare are increasing, would you shift to school bus or not? So would you increase the demand of school bus or not? Yes, it will increase. Okay? Even though they are alternatives, the prices of one, increase in price of one, look, basically increase in price of one will decrease the quantity demanded of same, and once its quantity falls, its quantity will increase. Okay? So decrease in substitute goods will basically move my curve to rightward direction. Fourth is income. If my income increase, for example, initially I was buying 5 loaves of bread only because of my income. Now my income has increased. Will I move to more quantities of breads? Right? So income increase, rightward shift. You don't need to learn that when is my rightward shift happening, when is my leftward shift happening. Please think of the scenario, think of the case, think of the demand. Okay? That's very generic. Moving to fifth, fashion or taste. For example, initially there was top A, your clothing item A, clothing item B. Now the demand or trend, trend has moved from pattern, the fabric of, for example, cloth A to fabric of cloth B. So you will be shifting the demand to cloth B, whatever is in fashion right now. Okay? So that's why fashion. We say now out of trend. So those out of trend items will be having lower demand because people have shifted from that item to some other item. So if the fashion is in favor of a particular good, then the curve will move rightward, but if the fashion or taste is against our good, then our curve will move leftward. Next factor if I come is my complementary goods price. For example, I say the prices of petrol have increased. Okay? So the demand for cars that run on petrol will also decrease. Why decrease? Because now since prices are increasing, you will demand less of petrol. You will think, okay, prices, I have to make total expenditure, so that's why I would buy cars once the prices will decrease. Okay? So I can say prices of complementary increases, quantity of own good will decrease. Clear? So these were some factors. You can also define more factors. Look, in the question you have to identify the factors. How will the question be framed? Either they can give you an MCQ saying like they have been giving you 5-6 scenarios and they are asking when is the rightward shift happening, when is the leftward shift happening. That's one case of question. Another case can be they can give you a whole scenario. Okay, in the economy this is happening. Now tell what will be the effect on our demand for this particular good. So you have to think of all these factors. This list is not at all exhaustive. You can think of more points. Okay. For example, weather, or I can say season or seasonality. Once the rainy season starts, the demand for umbrellas will increase even though prices remain constant. Similarly, if the summer starts, then the quantity of my, for example, air conditioner or cooler or fans will increase. So this can be clear. So let's do a question so that you know how a question can be framed in the exam, and then only we will be moving to yes, this is the question. I want answers in the chat box. They are asking shift, leftward shift, rightward shift, what type of shift is happening. So first task is identifying whether it is shift happening or a movement happening. If shift is happening, what type of shift, leftward or rightward? If movement is happening, contraction or expansion. Giving you 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, yes, giving you 5 minutes, think of it and write the answer in the chat box. You don't need to write full. If first, for example, is leftward shift, you can write L only, okay? L comma and then increase and then use the letters only. Initial letters you can write, I'll understand. Giving you 5 minutes. Let's reduce the time to 3 minutes because it is not such a long question. Think of it, I'm giving you 3 minutes, I want the answer in the chat box, then only we will start discussing, okay? Okay, I have received for part 1. Rest parts, think. Rest parts, Fatima, B, C, D, E. First one is correct. Okay, I've got the for C. Leftward shift is for C, Fatima, or B? Okay, let's discuss this question. Consumers consider the market for bicycles. So, what is my market? What is my own good? This is bicycles. Okay. So, first you have to identify in the question which good market you are considering for demand and supply. Clear? Explain way in which the demand curve for bicycles would shift in response to each of the following scenarios. First, consumer income. Income is another factor other than price, that's why shift will happen, right? Okay. Increase, and some people will buy a mountain bike as well as a racer bike. Clear? So, mountain bikes demand is increasing, racer bike demand is increasing, these make up the market of bicycles. So, that is why my demand for total demand for bicycle market will also increase. So, it is a rightward shift. So, it is a rightward shift. Very well done, Fatima. Second, consumer income increases. Again, consumer income is increasing, and some people may now be able to afford a car and so may no longer need to buy a bicycle. Means their income is increasing, but that income is used to afford a car and not a bicycle, and I want the market of bicycles. That is why my demand for bicycle is decreasing, obviously, because my alternative, this is an alternative good, substitute goods. Now people are preferring substitute goods more, that is why it is a leftward shift. Clear? Moving to third part, the prices of car increases. Now the prices of car are increasing, so you may shift to bicycles, okay, and there is increased provision of cycle lanes on busy roads. Means they have created, there were busy roads in which it would be difficult to move a car, and they have created more cycle lanes. So, it would be easier to travel through a bicycle. So, people would shift to bicycle. Why? Because of two reasons. Now, they can easily move on busy roads through cycle lanes, and prices of cars have increased. So, it may be relatively cheaper to buy a bicycle now. So, that is why it is a rightward shift, because the demand for bicycles will increase. Clear? Now, we can see this was also the case of substitute goods, this was also the case of substitute goods, but how are these two framed? So, you can't expect a very simple question in the exam. You will be given two factors, two combined factors, and then they will be asking you whether it is a rightward shift or a leftward shift. Clear? Coming to D part, the price of bicycle helmets. So, bicycle helmet is a complementary good or substitute goods? Fatima, is it a complementary good or a substitute good? And rest of the students online, it is a complementary good or a substitute good? Quickly guys, give me the answer. Yes, it is a complementary good, because if I am buying a bicycle and it is mandatory, for example, to buy the helmet as well, then the demand for bicycle is increasing the demand of bicycle helmets. So, complementary good, the price of my complementary goods are increasing, and the registration and licensing of bicycles introduced, means riding a bicycle is made a difficult task. So that's why it will reduce the demand, right? So it is a leftward shift. Moving forward to fifth part, people may increasingly believe that cycling is fun, trendy and the healthy thing to do. This is the fashion, or I say trend. There is an increasing trend of riding bicycle because, for example, it is considered fun, trendy and healthy. So fashion is in favor of our good. So that's why it is increasing my demand. So rightward shift. Now you can see here we were not at all talking about the prices of bicycle. Okay. Yes, I was talking about prices of bicycle helmets, but not about bicycle directly now. If prices of bicycle was being considered, then I would say it is the movement within the curve. But these are all the cases of shift within the curve, shift along the curve, shift in the curve. Clear? This is how you need to approach the question. Now when you are approaching in the exam, you will not simply write rightward shift, leftward shift. You have to give the explanation to that also. Why is it increasing, why is it decreasing, or why is it a rightward shift, why is it a leftward shift. So this is how you determine the rightward shift or leftward shift or the movement within the curve. Is this clear how you approach a question in CB2? Any doubts? Then we will talk about one more quick topic. Any doubt, give me a yes in the chat room if it is clear. Then only I will move to my next topic. If there is any doubt in any of the parts, why is it increasing, why is it decreasing, I am ready to explain it again. I am waiting for 30 more seconds. Okay. Let's move forward to one more small topic, is inferior good. There are two types of good basically, inferior goods and normal goods. Okay, two types of goods, inferior goods and normal goods. In my normal goods, with my increase in price, my quantity decreases. With my decrease in price, quantity increases, right? Inferior goods does not follow the law of demand. Just a second, guys. So yes, we were talking about normal goods and inferior goods. So normal goods, inferior goods, and there is third category called Giffen goods. So Giffen goods does not follow law of demand. Here if the prices increases, quantity also increases. If the prices decreases, quantity also decreases. Inferior good does not have to relate to the prices of goods, but it is related to income of the consumer. Okay, for example, let me tell you something. So here if income increases, quantity decreases. If income decreases, quantity increases. Okay, but in normal case, if I was talking about normal good, if my income increase, I would increase the quantity. If my income decrease, I will decrease the quantity. But in inferior good, it is opposite. And if I consider about price, in Giffen good, this is opposite. So let me give you an example. For Giffen good, if I give you an example of, for example, wheat. Wheat is a normal good. Jowar, bajra, or I say some low quality grains, right? These are considered Giffen and inferior good. So if your income increases, if for example earlier you were going to jowar, right? You were consuming jowar because wheat was a little expensive. So now your income has increased. So what will you do? You will shift your demand to wheat because now you can afford wheat. So even if your income is increasing, the demand for jowar is not increasing, but it is decreasing because it is considered an inferior good. Okay? Clear, guys? If I move to Giffen goods, Giffen goods I am saying law of demand, it does not follow. So for example, there is another quality of rice which is very low, but you were buying it because you cannot afford it. Now think its prices gets further down. Now you will think, okay, it was already so cheap, now it has become more cheap. So it may be compromising in quality or whatever. So these are some rare types of good where increase in price increases quantity and decrease in price decrease in quantity. Clear? Is the three types of good clear? Normal good, inferior good and Giffen good. So the demand of curve for inferior good and normal good would be same, but the shift in case of income would be different for inferior good and for normal good. And if I talk about Giffen good, the demand curve would here be upward sloping. Is the difference clear? So sometimes in the question they might be increasing your income, but your product may be inferior good. So in that case, even if the income increases, you would be moving to leftward side. Quickly give me a yes and then we can wrap up today's class. We have almost completed our discussion for demand. In the next class, we will be starting a discussion for supply. Once your demand is clear, supply will be lot more easier to understand because it is similar in the concept. Quickly give me yes in the chat room or any doubt if you have. Okay. So, okay, let us wrap up this class for today. Till then, please revise these concepts because since it is a theoretical subject, you need to revise your concepts time to time. Otherwise, you may forget the things, okay? Till then, have a nice day, guys. Thank you.